every precinct and neighborhood, and as our plans and our schemes and our programs make a difference to our lives. All these are good programs. Investments in our economy, investments in our people, spending on healthcare, social spending. They are all good programs, but they all cost money. And that means the government spending is going up. And if we look ahead into the years to come, it will rise further. And one big reason for this is healthcare spending. The government has to find money to pay for all of this. And that's why, after looking at all the possibilities and doing all the other things we can do to save money, not to spend when we don't need to, and to collect money where we can do it without it being very painful to people, finally, we concluded that we need to raise the GST sometime after 2020, in the next 5 years after that, between 2021 and 2025, and we have announced this in this year's budget. We don't need the money yet, but we can see the way things are going very clearly, and we know that by the next decade, in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time, we will need the money. And we have to plan ahead, work it out, how we are going to get what we need to spend, and announce to people our intentions as early as possible, so that people can be prepared, will know early, and will not be suddenly surprised when it happens. And this way people can also plan ahead and understand why the tax increase is necessary and is justified, and the money collected will go towards good things which will benefit you. This is a responsible way for the government to behave. We don't just list out all the good things we will do. I will spend on this, I will spend on that, I will build this, I will subsidize time. We will also tell people what it costs, how we will raise the money to fund them, what taxes need to go up to pay for them. And that is what we are doing. It's easy to spend money. It's much harder for people to earn it and for the government to raise it. But we have to be honest when we have to do it, to explain to people why we are doing it, when we are going to do it, and how we are going to spend it for your good. We've thought over the options very carefully before deciding to raise the GST. We decided we shouldn't just draw more money from the reserves because we need to spend more. The reserves are a precious nest egg built up over many years. It's our duty to manage the reserves, to invest them wisely, to keep them safe and intact for a rainy day, so that one day when we encounter a rainy day, the reserves will be there for us. But an aging society and healthcare is not a rainy day. It is an everyday need money day. It's a long-term trend, and we are aging. We will need to spend more on healthcare every year, year after year, for many years to come. So if we use the reserves for something when you must use money every day, soon you will find that the reserves are going down, are depleted, and when in fact the rain comes, thunder and lightning, and the children and grandchildren need the money, really truly, they will find it's gone. So I hope you will understand why the government is very reluctant to touch the reserves every time we need money, and will support the government's plans. The plan to increase healthcare spending to take care of our aging population, and also our plans to raise the GST a few years from now to pay for this additional spending. It's a prudent, responsible, long-term approach. It's an honest one. I'm explaining to you what I have to do. We are all adults. I think we can understand and face the facts of life squarely and make a judgment whether or not we're doing the right thing. We are the government and this generation of Singaporeans. We are the stewards of Singapore. We are responsible for this country. We're responsible not just for making it work for ourselves, but we're responsible for making it work for the next generation, for the future, for all Singaporeans to take care of it for many years to come, beyond our working lives, beyond our lifetime. In fact, it's not just the government's duty to think like this, it's the duty of every Singaporean to think like this, and to think for the future and to look towards next generations. Our children may not be voting yet, our grandchildren may not be born yet, but their lives and their futures depend on us, the present generation, acting on their behalf, thinking for them, planning for them, making wise and far-sighted decisions that protect them, protect their interests, providing for them, so when they grow up, they find that their parents and grandparents have looked after them well, brought them up well, and provided for them well. That's how every family does it, and I think that's how the government in charge of Singapore and the big Singapore family, we have to do it. And for generations, Singaporeans have supported the government when it has taken this approach, when it has pursued long-term policies, thought about tomorrow, day after tomorrow, year by year, built a better Singapore. And that's how our forefathers and ourselves, we've built today's Singapore.